Right, Steve and Tisha. And if there's any good news, I keep trying to look for that good news in this whole situation, is that it hasn't strengthened back into a 4, and now it's not forecast to. Remember, just yesterday, day before, the Hurricane Center had the winds up to 155 for a time, which is a high-end 4, almost a Category 5. So it's held steady. It's actually weakened a little bit during the course of the day. But when you see this out that close to the coast and heading in this direction, it still doesn't give you a whole lot of comfort, obviously, because that is a large and powerful hurricane moving towards the west-northwest right now at about 15 miles an hour. So here we go. As of 5 o'clock, the wind's at 120. That's a Category 3, about the strength of Florence. And we don't want to, Fran, I should say, you don't want to draw too many comparisons to hurricanes. They're all different, and this one will not take the path that Fran did, but that's about the wind field now. Moving northwest at 16, but it's forecast to run into a wall as it gets to our coast, so it bends back a little to the west. This is Friday, just after midnight. This is Friday in the afternoon. It doesn't move much at all, so our coast is going to take a pounding from this as a Category 3 hurricane basically just wanders around or stumbles westward for a time, at least 24 hours there, with the really rough seas, the dangerous storm surge, the destructive winds, and the incredible amounts of rain that could fall. Then it gets a little bit of a kick, but notice that track now still across central South Carolina and then bending back to the northwest into the mountains as a weakening tropical system, mainly just a remnant low by then, but still some rains around. So let's go through the warnings that are in effect right now. The tropical storm watches are up here for areas south and east of the triangle. We've got the hurricane watch that's up now too. This actually I think may have been upgraded now to a hurricane warning for Goldsboro to Fayetteville to Clinton, but that's the warning there. So it's still a hurricane watch for winds that could gust to hurricane force. And then we've got the hurricane warnings that are near the coast as well. Bottom line is there are still the same warnings in effect that we had before, and the hurricane warnings down to the coast, down to South Carolina. So here's our in-house model, the track of the storm. Here it is moving towards the coast. This is tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, still off the coast. The weather here tomorrow is going to be pretty fine, pretty good overall. It's going to become breezy, a lot of clouds, but not even much in the way of rain. A stray shower, that's about it. We get towards 5:30, 6 o'clock into the evening hours tomorrow. There it is. And again, you see that eye wall along the coast for hours and hours. That is going to do huge damage to our coast, unfortunately, if it just sits there like that for hours. Here we go into Friday during the morning hours, and it gets us into South Carolina then. Notice the heavy rains trying to spread northward into the triangle as we get into the day on Friday. And that's when really the worst of the weather is going to be for us, Friday into early Saturday. Tomorrow looks pretty good. So arrival times of the strongest winds tomorrow evening along the coast, but back here mainly it'll get gusty tomorrow, but it's mainly Friday during the morning hours we start to see those winds pick up, and we'll time those out for you coming up. We could see some gusts up to 40 to 50 in the triangle and up to 60, maybe 65 mile per hour gusts in the Sandhills. Total amount of rain now, again, the farther south you are, the worse it is. There could be just epic rains here in the southeastern part of the state, 20 plus inches. The all-time record is 24 for a tropical cyclone from Fran. It could easily surpass that in places. Get back into our area, though, you get near from Wilson to Goldsboro and especially to Fayetteville, 10 to 15. I think the 15 the farther south. But remember with Matthew, the rainfall amounts were 17 to 18 in a day and a half. And you know all the trouble that caused, obviously. Get back to the triangle, 5 to maybe 10. I think maybe on the lower end of that, probably not quite as much as 10, but could be a spot or two that gets that, and 3 to 5 to the north. So even though the flash flood watch now is mainly just south and east of the triangle, more than likely that'll get expanded up into the triangle, at least parts of the triangle, as we get into tomorrow. That's a flash flood watch for later tomorrow into especially Friday and Saturday for those amounts of rain. So again, the timing, the heaviest rain is going to come Friday into early Saturday. The gustiest winds, the strongest winds are going to be mainly on Friday. The flash flood threat is going to be mainly later Friday into Saturday. And then the river flood threat is going to start probably, if not Saturday, then into Sunday, because you get all that rain, all those rivers to the southeast of the triangle, especially the Neuse River, Tar River, Cape Fear River, they're probably going to go into flood if we get that amount of rainfall coming up. Now, the storm surge, again, is going to be a huge issue as well, with the storm surge on the south coast from the Cape Fear River here getting 10 to 12 feet, and it'll go through more than one high tide cycle, one or two of those because of the slow movement, so they're going to get just pounded. And you get up towards the sounds and you get into the Albemarle and Pamlico Sound, you see some of these storm surges getting up to almost 15 feet as they go up into the Neuse River. It's just going to cause incredible damage as that water gets pushed up out of the ocean on the west side of the Sound. So a lot to watch there. Obviously going to be a destructive hurricane. Doesn't seem to be any way around that. We'll talk more coming up in just a bit. Steve, Tisha.